Welcome to the Bayonets Countdown to November. That's a series of interviews with candidates in the November 4th election. My name is Joseph Norris. I'm here today with Amanda Stewart. You're running for Charles County Commissioner District 2? 3. I just want to be clear on that. And her opponents in the upcoming election are Republican Marcus Tillman and Democrat Cornell Posey is a write-in candidate. So, Mrs. Stewart, tell us a little about who you are.
Okay, well thank you for having me this evening. Again, my name is Amanda Stewart. I am running for County Commissioner, District 3. I am a Democrat. I am the Democratic nominee, so I did win the primaries. I am an educator. I've been in the public education system for over 15 years. I'm also a mom and a wife. I have my husband and I, we have a nonprofit organization, Reach One, Touch One, and then we also are board members of Christmas in April in Charles County.
Okay.
And so we're very active in our community, giving back to community. We truly feel that it's better to give than to receive. So as a family, we work together to better our community.
Very good. Why are you running for County Commissioner in Charles County?
Okay, well, you know, a couple years ago, I really started getting officials meetings. And over again, I heard from the residents. I noticed that a lot of residents was concerned that their voices were not being heard. I firmly believe that government is for the people, by the people, and when we have elected officials that are not listening to the residents, that's a problem, that's a concern. And so I started to challenge some of the things that I was hearing from some of our elected officials. With that being said, it started where I started writing letters to the editor, and then I also a few times got quoted in the paper. And then I noticed that when I was going to different events, people would stop me and they would say, "Are you Amanda Stewart?" And I would say, "Yes." And they would get so excited and they would thank me for standing up and saying some of the things that I was saying, because they would tell me, "I can't do that, but you were saying exactly what I was thinking, so I appreciate you." And so that's really the reason why I started getting involved. And then one day someone said, "Well, how about you run for county commissioner?" And that's how it started.
Wow.
And then with the support of my family and friends, I announced that I was running on July 26, 2013, filed in August, and here we are.
Right.
Just a couple weeks away from the general election.
What do you think are some of the big issues in Charles County?
One of the things that I hear, first of all, is our growth, and especially in one area, the Waldorf area. Some folks are concerned with that. Another concern we have is our economic development. We need to do a better job of bringing big businesses to Charles County. Those are businesses that have 100+ employees that offer benefits. We have over 60% of our residents travel outside the county every day to go to work. But we need to, as community leaders, we need to do a better job to bring those businesses to our county so folks can stay at home. You know, when they can get up and drive 5 minutes down the road to go to work, that makes them happy. It makes a better family life. You can come home and then get the kids to football practice or baseball practice. It just improves our quality of life. The other issue is our schools. You know, I tell folks I'm running for county commissioner, but I am a mom, and that comes first. And one of the things I see as a mom is that, you know, my son is in 5th grade, and his class size it's a little large. It's beyond the point where I think it's acceptable. And I hear that from students, I hear that from parents, that our class sizes are large. And that's something that we have to deal with. But something I'm really passionate about is our aging schools. I want to be able to say that the commissioners are going to work with the Board of Education to focus on our aging schools, improving our aging schools. I tell people, because someone goes to school in an older school, they should not feel that their education is worth less. Children and parents sometimes feel that way because of the bricks and mortar. One of the things we have to do is make a commitment to our children and our parents that just because you go to a school in an older school, your education is worth equal. And one of the things we can do is make a commitment and put the focus back on those aging schools and upgrade the facilities.
You mentioned upgrading the schools. It's interesting, I attended a press conference yesterday where some of the Democratic delegates and senators from Charles County and Commissioner Ken Rock were firing back at governor candidate Larry Hogan, who has vowed to cut $450 million from new school construction if he's elected governor. And they were saying that Charles County, here you have $600 million committed over the next 10 years to renovate some of these aging structures. And if they were very concerned that if Mr. Hogan was to be elected, that the plan, the 10-year plan that's just been studied and would be, in jeopardy. How do you feel about those issues?
Well, one of the things I like to tell folks is when you run government, and yes, it's the first time I've ran for office, but one thing I know as a resident, it's about setting priorities. And one of the things that takes top priority is our children's education. Folks always say children are our future, and that is true, but we need to make the investment into our children because they are our future. And one of the things I know is that when you're setting a budget, you can't always start with education to make cuts. Now, I tell you I'm a teacher too, I'm a mom first, and I can tell you as a mom, I can tell you as an educator and a future county commissioner, when you need to make budget cuts, education is not the way to do it. And so I read the report, I read the article, and I'm not pleased that a person who wants to be a leader of this state would think that it's okay with the thousands and millions of parents that would be okay. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable in my home, and I know it's not acceptable in other homes.
And of course, it's not just Charles County, it's many school systems throughout the state
Right.
that are affected.
Exactly. And I think on election day we'll see that the parents and the grandparents in this state will be able to speak and say that that's not how we want to cut back on a budget, starting with our children. That's not appropriate.
Okay, and there's a lot of things that have, I asked this same question of Commissioner Robinson when I had him in here earlier today. It seems like it's been a 3-2 vote on some issues, especially the real critical issues. I guess what folks are hoping for with your primary win and Peter Murphy's primary win is that you can follow through the November election and become candidates and maybe turn that around on some of the critical issues, especially involving land use and how much land is going to be preserved as opposed to development and all of those issues. It gets very complicated. You ready for all that?
I am ready for that. Moving forward, I'm not looking at a 3-2 vote. I'm not looking at that ratio. What I'm looking at is working with the team, and so that we can do the business of the county, do the best business. And I'm not predicting the ratio of votes. I'm just looking forward to do the business and to do what's best for the county, make the best decision.
Do you think you'll be able to build consensus with other commissioners?
That's one of my goals. I believe I bring a unique background to the Board of Commissioners. I will. And with my experience and my, just love for this county and my openness and my ability to get along with folks and to reason, and to have wonderful, conversations about issues, and some may say debate, but I do believe that in the Democratic Party, the ones, I've talked to everyone, and moving forward, the ones who won the Democratic primary, we understand that the residents are tired of the 3-2 split. They're tired of the bickering back and forth. They're tired of the internal fight. And so we are ready, and I speak for myself as a group, but mainly I'm saying I'm ready to work as a team. And so I'm not, like I said, I'm not focusing on a 3-2 vote. I'm just looking and focusing on just working together as a team.
Okay. Now, the other issue is this last year's budget. I think when they got into the budget battle, it was a long process, and right up till the very end, it seemed like we were going to be in the red. It seems like a challenge. How do you foresee turning that around? I mean, a lot of it deals with property taxes and what you're taking in as a county and where those resources go. Of course, Board of Education is the largest piece of the pie, and everything else beyond that seems to, be a contention. I know issues that have lingered for the county that they haven't been able to address because the money is simply not there. How do you work with a strapped budget?
Very carefully. And I tell folks, the first thing is setting priorities. You need to set priorities. And when you make decisions day in and day out, you always have to come back to your core and find out, is this in our priorities? Does this go with our priorities? If you have to have that mindset that it's not our money that we're spending, it's the residents. And so with that being said, the first thing is setting priorities. And yes, the education system, the safety, and the welfare of the community, those are two main issues that receive the bulk of the money. And we need to understand that and then when you set priorities, you always check in to see if, okay, this activity or this project, does that fall within our priority? If it's not, sometimes you have to make the hard decisions and say this initiative or this project cannot be done at this time. The other thing that you would need to do is really work with staff and understand the ins and outs of the government, what's going on, where the needs are, working with our community leaders, working with our business leaders, and together you can come up with a decent budget. But you just have to, it's challenging, and be open to the public and let folks know that what the challenge is. You know, you shouldn't have to get to the last hour and surprise people. That people don't like that. You need to be open, you need to be transparent about the needs of the community and the needs of the county and the challenges. And I really believe that people can have more respect for the Board of Commissions if you have that openness, that transparency about the challenges and the needs. You may not, at the end of the day, they may not agree with the decision, but they can have more respect for you when you have a transparent government.
Very good. If folks want to volunteer for your campaign or look you up online, how would they do that? You want to?
Yes, thank you. I do have a website, electamandastewart.com. I'm also on Facebook, Amanda Stewart, and on Twitter, Elect Amanda. I do have a decent social media presence. Folks can donate online. I appreciate all the support that I've been receiving in the county, from signs to coming out, knocking on doors, to passing out literature. There's a place online at Elect Amanda Stewart where folks can just sign up, request signs, and even offer to volunteer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and
Thank
good
you.
luck on November 4th.
Thank you so much.